and we're gonna just hang out and chill out, and yeah, we'll have some fun. See what topics come up tonight. But I can be pretty sure that we'll be talking about something, nothing, and everything. Okay, so let's see who joins us today. We have another person in the chat. Considering it was so late for Hardy doing her stream, I don't suspect it's going to be the Hardy Miles yet. But please make yourself known, say hello, and I will greet you personally. Hello, hello, hello. Anybody there? Okay, we got somebody lurking in the background. Interesting. Well, we're going to keep waiting for other people to join us. While we wait, I'm just going to sing along with a song here. Josh Turner.
Lock the door and turn the lights down low. Put some music on that's soft and slow. Baby, we ain't got no place to go. I hope you understand. I've been thinking about this all day long. Never felt a feeling quite this strong. I can't believe how much it turns me on just to be your man. There's no hurry, don't you worry. We can take our time. Come a little closer, let's go over what I had in mind. Baby, lock the door and turn the lights down low. Put some music on that's soft and slow. Baby, we ain't got no place to go. I hope you understand. I've been thinking about this all day long. Never felt a feeling quite this strong. I can't believe how much it turns me on just to be your man. Turn the lights down low. Put some music on that's soft and slow. Baby, we ain't got no place to go. I hope you understand. I've I've been thinking about this all day long. Never felt a feeling that was quite this strong. I can't believe how much it turns me on just to be your man. I can't believe how much it turns me on just to be your man.
Hello, sweetheart. How are you? Thank you for coming. Gene, thank you for coming as well. Yes, We Are the World. I know that song very well. I was in my 20s when that was recorded. Yeah. And behold. We Are the World, with lyrics. There we go. Yes, of course I know who Bryan Adams is. Okay, got several options here. We Are the World, USA for Africa.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We go on, pretending day by day that the world someday will soon make a change. We are a part of God's great big family, and the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the children. We are the ones who make it better again, so let's start giving. There's no choice we're making. We're changing our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
Hello, Jeff's YouTube channel. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Send them your heart, so they know that someone cares, and their heart
What does it mean about his tools and skills?
And so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world. We are the children.
Okay, so sorry to see you go so quickly, Gene. Most of them are ballasts that are burned out their grid, and I just don't use the space the way it was originally lit up for. This was a boardroom at one time. I'm basically here, at a table desk with my computer, and that's about all I need. Yeah. But unfortunately, the way they wired the room, the plugs that I use for my computer stuff are controlled by the switch. So that's why that one bulb is on. But anyways, doesn't bother me. I pretty much live in this room, so I got to walk to the other end of the other side of the building to go and let this out and get a refill. Yes, that is a very nice song, Hardy. So that would have come out when you were 10 years old. I forget what the date was. I think it was in June or something like that. But that song was written by Michael Jackson, who then got, all the big names of the day, all the big American, well, all the Billboard chart, yeah. Grid, yeah, of course that would stick out to you. So yeah, Michael Jackson got all these big names in the music industry to come together and record that song. My sister actually watched it, I think when it premiered. It was on TV, and she went and bought the record. So, I got to hear that so many times. Oh my God. Because at that time I had just moved back to my mom and dad's after college. So yeah. I heard it a lot. But it's still a good song. Yeah, I'll never, never deny that. And it did a lot of good. Raised a lot of funds for famine relief in Africa. Mr. Graham, how's it going, my friend? Welcome to the stream. Nice to see you again. Been missing you this past week or so. Wondering what part of the world you dropped off into. Well, longish. Bye. Okay, yeah. Eric Clapton's Changed the World. That's a pretty good song. Thank you, Graham. Salamat po. That must mean you're in Cavite. You've switched over to Tagalog. Oh. Uh, just a little while ago, I typed in what are the planes that are built to land on water, or amphibious planes. I watched a short video on that. It was about 18 minutes. The 10 best amphibious planes. It started with the Icon 5. I'm doing good, my friend. I'm good. The Icon 5, nice little two-seater. It's built like a boat. You land it on water with it, and with the retractable wheels, you can actually just drive it right out of the water and up onto land. But the nice thing about the Icon 5 is the wings pull out and pivot and can be stowed along the side, so you can tow it behind a car on a trailer. And then the last one, I'm not sure where it was made, but it was a nice unit. It's like a 6-seater, big platform base. You get out of the plane and you're basically standing on sides of the boat, and it didn't, because the base was so wide to land on, it didn't need tip floats. And again, that one had retractable landing gear like the Icon 5. You could just drive it out with the props as your the Catalina. That didn't make the list. Oh, I was on Controller. Somebody has a CB for sale in Como, Switzerland. 120 grand. And it's a good looking little plane too. Problem with the CB is it doesn't have a long enough range to make it across the ocean in one flight. Not like a 7.4. Oh no. Hello, Tanya from Russia. Thank you for coming and visiting. You're wondering how I was able to read that. I learned Cyrillic. I did Duolingo, Ukrainian, and some Russian. Oh, it's Talia. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, right. Talia. Nothing. It's ready to fly, Graham. 120 US. It's on Controller. Look for amphibious and it'll show up. It was at the bottom of my list. Yep. Yes, I know, Talia, that Ukrainian and Russian are about as similar as Spanish and Italian. But there are, key similarities. You use the same alphabet. And or almost the same alphabet. Of course I'm still alive. Michigan Christian. Yeah, we won't go there, okay? So I'm just going to hide that comment. Natalia, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate that. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Art Eritordov. I'll take those. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in Canada, Talia. You know, Canada and Russia, we have a lot in common. We're both, northern countries. We're neighbors, except, the U.S. grabs a little piece in between. But there are many, many, many similarities between Canada and Russia. In Russia, the highest population density is on the west side, up against Europe, and the rest is sparsely populated. Same in Canada. Our population density is along the U.S. border, and the north is once you get more than a couple hundred kilometers in most places away from the U.S. border, the population thins out fast, really fast. Yes, I have, Wes. I've been to England once. Hey, Keko, welcome back, my friend. Good to see you back. Yeah, I enjoyed having you here before, so I appreciate your return. Okay, I'm not understanding what you wrote there in your last comment, Talia. I came to England just, I was on vacation. My first wife, her ancestry is from England, so she wanted to go. So we went. We were in Europe for 2 weeks. The first week was a gathering of my my father's family for my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary, and the second week we grabbed a rental car and drove through Belgium, France, right down to Calais. Caught the ferry to Dover, and then from Dover we drove into London. Spent a good day in London, and then went back to the ferry, back to Calais, and then drove along the coast through Dunkirk, and follow the coast till we hit the mouth of the Rhine River, and then went back inland. It was nice to visit. Now, since I've been there, and that was in 90, a lot has changed. Yeah. Yeah, so. Okay, Wex, I see. I'm from the north of England, place called, I know where Yorkshire is, yeah. I almost had an opportunity after my first wife and I were there, to go back to Scotland and spend 2 weeks there teaching a specialized building system that I'm, an expert in. So, yeah, let's see. Yeah, 90s England was good. Thank you, Michigan Christian Fishing. Whereabouts are you in Michigan, the UP or the LP? I go through there, whenever I go from where I am in northwestern Ontario down to visit my family in Niagara, I go right through Michigan, across the Mackinac. I'm getting ready, Lughu. I'm getting ready for Christmas. I gotta grow this beard in order to be Santa Claus at the end of the year. Okay. Yep. I don't get down to Detroit because I cross back over into Ontario at Port Huron. Yeah, and Mackinac beautiful. That's one hell of a bridge. The LP's a beautiful place. I will say that. Yeah, Graham Hereford. I've heard of it. What do I think of the whole AI thing? Yeah. It has its place. Right now, it needs to be used cautionary with caution. But in time, I think it will improve things. But we need to be careful. There's been many times, lawyers are using AI to generate their documents for court, and that's not smart. It's a tool, not a replacement for good, solid practices. If you're trying to cut corners with AI, you might wind up getting your dick slapped. Yep. Michigan Christian, good fishing spots, yeah, in the Upper Peninsula. But you want to know something? I still see a hell of a lot of Michigan plates here because the fishing's just a whole shitload better. Yeah. Hereford. Oh, that was where a lot of military, the Air Force was based during the war. I know, like I remember from reading the Trouw, what is now the Dutch daily newspaper of the country, started out as an underground newsletter. And I read the first 5 years of it. Yeah, Talia, AI can be frustrating. Yeah. Part of the problem, Talia, is that AI is English based. So dealing with another language, it's going to take time for it to perfect over. No, that's true, Graham. They're introducing AI into the flying world, but you still need a pilot up there to take that stick. And that AI has been in your world a lot longer than the rest of it. Belon or Beelion, be gone. Yeah. So it's limited in its ultimate capabilities. Okay. Hey, Geomani. I'm good, buddy. Welcome back. And I'm sitting here in my jacket because today was quite cool here. And we had a hell of a wind. So any heat there was from the sun was stripped away by that wind in seconds. Drop some wisdom on y'all. Hey. Well, I'll drop this one on you. Go watch the video I just uploaded today. What the Bible says about government. You'll hear so many church leaders tell you that government is ordained by God, but that's only because the Bible has been altered. There's, government is not what we were supposed to have. We were supposed to live in a altruistic anarchy. It's when you combine the two, altruism with governing yourself, that you have, if it can even be possible, because most people nowadays, they cannot govern themselves. Counterintelligence, yes, I am a Christian, because I know, I'm learning where the Bible has been altered. And when you sit back and think about it, especially if you watch that one, the whole thing's in there. But 99.5% of the Bible is correct. It's just figuring out that 0.5% that's a lie. And once you understand the full, you grasp the full story story and meaning of the Bible, those verses that are wrong, they'll jump off the page and just slap you right upside of the head and say, "Hey, I'm wrong, stupid." If you tell me the Quran, you don't know the Quran may not have been altered, but the Quran is written by a guy that spent many years, I think it was like 20 or 25 years, with the monks in Sinai Monastery. Okay, learning from them. It's not the religion that has been altered, it is the text of the religion that has been altered. Okay, counterintelligence or counterintel, it's not the religion. As a matter of fact, Christ did not come to establish a religion. He came to call us out of it and into a relationship with our Father. Yeah. Well, the last part of the Quran, Muhammad was on some wild LSD trip, that's for sure. Which, that Muhammad studied, spent 20 years in a monastery with monks studying the Bible? Very true. The Quran wasn't written until the late 400s. Yep. Yeah. The Quran is a lot of it comes from the Dead Sea, what are now called the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Deuterocanon, or the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses. Oh. Well, because he changed how he interacted with his people at the time of Christ. He sent his son to deliver the message. Right? And from then on, it's been the followers, the true believers that continue to spread the message. Each one of us, that are Christians and that spread the message, are prophets. That's Old Testament, outsider. I'm going to show that comment. All of what you're quoting there is Old Testament. Okay? You need to run those commands through the lens of the cross. Yeah, well, I'm sure you, Talia, that you were raised Orthodox Catholic, because that's the religion in Russia. And I can tell you, I had friends when I lived in Niagara that were from Russia. They were part of the Orthodox Catholic Church. As a matter of fact, I put the roof on I put a new roof on the Orthodox Catholic Church in St. Catharines, because I knew, the head elder, and we sat many, many times discussing, theology. And, it was his knowledge that triggered me to question what my church was teaching me. And through that, then I realized that, churches, these organized, modern, institutional organizations, are nothing but a lie. They are a multi-billion-dollar industry trying to sell you a roadmap to a place that you can't go because you are. Well, my condolences, you're down the loss of your mother. Okay. Talia, yeah. Or when you walk away from organized religion and start asking God to teach you what He wants you to know, then you will begin to understand. Okay. Lou, whatever. Atheist now? Yeah. Yeah, Talia, it's a shit system. Rest in peace. Best wishes again to your Graham. Does it really make any difference what religion we all are? No, it doesn't. Yeah, we're all human beings. But I use my platform to share my religion. I don't condemn, Muslims or Islam. Nope. No, 101. Now I'm not sitting in a boat. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Outsider there. It's when you let religion control you. Religion is not about control. It's about, acknowledging that we do have a higher power. Yeah. Well, see, there's where you and I, Talia, are on different pages. I may be alone, as in I'm don't have a significant other. I don't have, even my children have pushed away from me because of their mother, who went from being, crazy in love with God and active in wanting to spread God's word, to saying I'm an atheist. Now, I don't even have a relationship with my 4 kids, but I'm not alone. I've got God, right? He is my stress reliever. You have it so right there. You say, I think if there was a God, they wouldn't care whether or not we believe in them. They would care more about whether we are good to others. God is love. But we need to understand what kind of love, because there's, different expressions of love. God is agape, okay, which is the care, compassion, and charity component of love. Okay, so when we have care, compassion, and charity for those around us, we are personifying God's love. Yeah, Talia, we are all figuring out God, figuring out life. Yeah. Okay, Hardy. Yeah. In my opinion, religion and politics start wars, but I'm Graham. Yes, religion and politics are what wars are started over. That and oil. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not the oil itself. It's who controls the oil. Politics. Outsider, Talia, religion is also an enough answer to answers that we had from beginnings of mankind. Yeah. Talia says it teaches you to be doormat and complacent. I've seen those values reflected in my own mother, and I've decided it isn't for me. Actually, Talia, that is the church that teaches that, not God. Okay? Just look at the Apostle Paul. He wasn't no doormat. Okay? So, it's the, leaders of the church that, teach the people to be doormats. Tell me about my life. There's not enough time in the day to tell you about my life. So we'll just, give it to you in nuggets. I'll quit with my adverse opinions. I'm not here to disrupt. No, actually, Talia, I appreciate your input. I think it's valuable. It starts our conversations. So if someone works in a coffee shop, for example, does that make me a better person? No, not in your opinion. You're working. But if you're working in a coffee shop and you see, somebody coming in and, they're eyeing up everybody's food, but they can't afford to buy a donut, a donut and a coffee, you pour a coffee, grab a donut, and you put it in front of them and say, here you go. That's showing God's love. It's the opportunities that we take to make someone else's life better because we have the opportunity. Well, see, the thing is, Hardy, religion and politics do sometimes create conflict, but it's when the radicals in religion and politics getting control. That shit goes sideways, and they're going to make sure that everybody knows that they're right and whoever else has an opinion is wrong. That's where the conflict comes from. Yep. When you see somebody standing in the median on a busy street and they're holding up a sign that says homeless, anything will help, I don't give them money. I tell them, jump in, let's go. I'll buy you food. Okay? I don't give them the money. I give them a meal, and we sit down and we have a meal together. I sit down with them, buy them the meal they want, and I sit down with them, and they get their belly filled, but then I also share with them the love of Jesus and why I do what I do. So, I gotta laugh at these people that, see somebody standing there, panhandling, and, one of these Christians drives by and says, Jesus loves you! Yeah, right. Before you can even think about addressing their spiritual needs, you've got to make sure that you've addressed their physical needs, because that's more important to them at the moment than their spiritual needs. But when I sit them down and feed them and tell them why I do what I do, is because I believe in God, and God has, told me that I have to do this for you. Because by doing that, I show you what God is, that God is love. Yes, Graham. Yep. I agree with you. We give people money, and yeah. Comes with the territory. And that's the sinful part of this world, unfortunately, Graham. But I just accept that, it's happened, and we're going to move on and let history be history. Thank you, Talia. So, Nathan Guy, please pray for me, brother, going through it. What are you going through there, Nathan? Yeah, Talia, he goes around the world flapping his arms real hard and real fast. But anyways, it's it's the world that we live in. People take advantage. But to me, it's only money. You travel through time. Yeah. Is that now? I think it's in this one. Oh, hey, Graham, as a matter of fact, I still got it up here, that CB. Oh, no. Okay, that one's 140. Okay, the one in Switzerland's about 150 or 141,000. There was another one, 120 grand. Oh, that's a Progressive Aerodyne Sea-Ray, and it is located in Vonore, Tennessee, for 120. But there's a whole bunch of Grumman Mallards up on the market too. Okay. In the airline industry, the FAA have a name, but in pilot terms, Neil, we have another name for them. Do you know it? No, not a clue. Yes, no, not Vice. I know that very well. Carlo, what's something about today's world that you think young people get completely wrong? Their rights. What they think their rights are. Um, they need to go back and yeah, yeah, yep. I get you, Graham. So, Keko, that is the one thing, that I would say. Um, you're not entitled to anything but the air that you breathe. Everything else, you better fucking work for it. You're not entitled to your food. You're not entitled to, have a roof over your head. You're not entitled not to be photographed in public, right? You're not entitled to privacy, especially when you're in public. Get over yourself. And a lot of those, rights that they think they have come from misleading information from Hollywood. To find young people, pretty much anybody under the age of 25, and in some cases they could be older. But you're a 2006 baby, so you're a 20-year-old. Okay, no offense intended, Talia. As a matter of fact, my hat's off to you. Since you are Russian, you have a pretty good command of the English language. Whoa, 20 in a few weeks. Yep. Then definitely, my hat's off to you. English is not an easy language to learn. I found it much easier to learn Ukrainian. Oh, you can go machete. You can go to the strip club anytime you want. Hello, Harry Khan. Do I like my life? Yes. Whoa, you learned at a very young age? That's good. Then, my compliments to your parents for teaching you at a very young age. For so long, in North America, we were taught that, Russia is evil, right? And you want nothing to do with Russia. Okay, gotcha. Your mom or dad were a diplomat then, I would imagine. No, Machette, I don't need to go to a strip club to watch a woman take her laundry off. Okay. Well, I'll let you share, whenever you like. How can I read Cyrillic? I studied Ukrainian because for a time I was interested in dating Ukrainian women, and then I realized a lot of them are quite full of themselves, unlike the Filipinos. Well, uh, okay. Well, hopefully it was the beautiful part that came out. Actually, Russian and Ukrainian women are gorgeous, gorgeous women. Alias name? Well, um, then if you got a problem with the blacks, then guess what? You have a problem. Good idea there, Popper Penguin, to retract that. Oh. Thank you, Keko. Some of the most decent men I've known are, of African descent. And no. Okay, Talia. She's hiding somewhere there, Graham. She's at home. I think she said she was going to, in her stream, she was going to get ready and go over to her house to continue the cleaning expedition before her and Erica move back to the house from the boarding house, because Garrett, her son, is off to college at the end of the month. So what she's paying now for her boarding house will be diverted to cover his boarding house in Dagupan. Oh, all I said there was, Night Star, is that the Russian and Ukrainian women are very beautiful women. What's the quote of the day? I don't have one. I haven't thought about preparing a quote of the day. Although, here's a good one to always remember. Those who fail to learn from history are compelled to repeat it. So, we need to understand what happened in history and how we can. I try not to think about Pakistan. It's too greasy. Hello, Yuppie. Welcome to the stream. Make a meaningful contribution. Yep. No. Those who, what does that mean, Talia asked, the quote? History as a nation, history as a person, history, if you don't learn from experiences, you're going to do them over again. Do you want to see what's going to happen to a nation that gets arrogant and full of itself? Just go read the book, Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire. Yeah, Graham, that's a good one. You know, before you get that plane off the ground, you need to kick the turkeys out the window. You know, don't you have a little sliding window there in the cockpit? Just toss the turkeys out. Ah. Talia says, I had a Furby as a kid and I named it Asmodeus. Okay, not familiar with that name, but sounds interesting. So, which Talia? You must live there, then near the capital region, somewhere around, in Russia. Yeah. Am I a famous author? No. No, not at all. But I have written a manuscript. Unfortunately, that manuscript was on a computer. I hadn't backed it up. And when I went on a 3-week vacation, somebody accessed my space and stole that computer with the manuscript, and I was unable to retrieve it. Yep. Yeah, Sila, everybody needs to learn from history. And the problem is some people don't. Yeah. Yeah, that was heartbreaking when that manuscript went missing. It was a book that delved into my youth, my childhood and youth, and the lasting effects of being abused, not by my parents, but by my peers and others in authority, and just what that did to me. The was, that the leadership of the school made it be my problem trying to defend myself from bullies. They deemed me as having an anger problem, but I didn't have an anger problem. I just wanted to be left alone. And the bullies would push me to the point where I would strike out physically against them. And, I tried everything I thought humanly possible to, get the teachers, the principal to protect me. But they wouldn't. So, for a long time that left it left its impression on my way of thinking. Yeah. Feeling powerless. Part of the problem was it was a private school, a Christian school. It was owned and operated by, the families of which the children were part of. My father could never, was never selected to be on the board. It was always the families, primarily of the bullies, that were on the board. And whenever my parents tried to bring it up that I was being tormented by their children, they denied any possibility of that being truth. Until I was in grade 8. There was a young fellow that came to our school for just the grade 8 year, and his father was the principal of the local public high school. Now, that young man and I became friends. His name was Aaron. Aaron and I became good friends. And there were many times that, I was invited to their house on Sunday, after church. I'd go and hang out at Aaron's place, and we'd just kick it and have fun. And, I'd have dinner with the family or lunch. Yes, Sean, I am working on rewriting it. Yep. So, there's, when I got to grade 9, several of my bullies had, gone to that high school the year before me. So basically in grade 8, there were only a few that bothered me. But in grade 9, the older ones were already in the high school, or some of the older ones. Some had gone to the Christian high school 30 miles away. They were bused to school, and I didn't see them again except on Sundays at church. But the one bully, he had recruited a bunch of his new friends in the high school to join in the torment of me. And they liked to hang out in the hallway between my locker and the classrooms that I had to go to. And the one day they I don't know if they're still available, they call them Tiny Tarts. They're just basically little tart, hard candy, something like about the size of a small pellet. And they flicked one and hit me right here in the inside corner of my eye, and that was it. I had it. I dropped my books right there in the hall, walked over to Bill, grabbed him by the scruff of the neck, because by that time I'd already been, working with my dad doing roofing for, 2 years. So I built up some serious strength in my arms and my legs. Walked over, grabbed him by the scruff of the neck, and dragged him 75 feet down the hallway with his nose facing the ground and his feet kicking. And at the very end of the hallway was a great big steel cabinet that enclosed the hot water heat register. And I drove him into that steel cabinet head first. Left one hell of a fucking dent in it. And right beside that register was the stairs that went down. I went down the stairs, and that stairs was diagonally opposite the school offices on the school. So the hallway was a big square around an open courtyard. Well, I went down the stairs and walked straight to the office, straight to the principal's office. Just as I walked into the office, I said, I need to speak to the principal. And the secretary looked at me, says, he's in there. She knew she knew who I was. So I told the principal what went on. And while I'm in talking to him, the guy I rammed into the radiator come walking in, and he went to the vice principal, right, to complain that I'd hit him. Yeah. The principal left my office and went to the vice principal's office, and proceeded to tell Mr. Bill, the student, that he was expelled for the balance of the year. Yeah. Final exams were 3 weeks away. He lost the semester as a result. No, I have not arranged dates yet in the Philippines, Graham. Right now, I am going to be sitting down this week with a lawyer. I took an injury 2 months ago. I slipped on snow-covered paving stones, landed hard on my left knee, and it's still bothering me. I can't walk. I can barely work. If I get in, 8 hours in a week, I'm doing good. And that's a far cry from the 40 hours, that I used to get. And so, that's hurting my income. So I've got to sue the son of a bitch for my lost wages. So we're going to see what happens with that. I've gone from making $1,800 a week to, barely $300 a week. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, just walking to the bathroom fucking hurts. I had, when I was there last fall, in September or August, September. Oh yes, I will. Oh yeah. Thomas, people get sued in Canada all the time. As a matter of fact, Canada is almost as litigious as the United States. And, that guy has to... Right. I mean, I'm going from making $350 a week to, struggling to make $300 a day. Or from $350 a day to struggling to make $300 a week. Yep. See, the thing is, there's a law firm here, the personal injury law. They take it on contingency. So if they take the case, they take a portion of it. No, not $1,000. It's my income that's been totaled, and they're on the hook for it. They scraped the sidewalk and didn't properly maintain it. They left very slippery conditions, and as in a hotel. No, I can't go to WSIB. I wasn't on the job. I was in the hotel. WSIB, I'm glad I can't go to WSIB. And, that it didn't happen on the job. It happened while I was in the vicinity for work, but not working. I was overnight at a hotel, and I went out of the hotel to have a cigarette, and that's when I wiped out. Oh, what's popping is my chair. It rocks a little bit under me and makes some noise. Anyways, guys, yeah, I have been working on rewriting the book. It's a Canadian hotel. It's an independent hotel, not even part of a chain. So I'm working on rewriting the book, but while I'm laid up like this, I've been putting my time into doing a YouTube channel. I'm not sure who I'm going to publish or who's going to publish it yet. But when I do publish it, I will make it well known here on my channel, and then I'm going to reach out to different educational forums, because my goal is to put it in the hands of educators as the primary audience, so that they understand that bullying is not just kids being kids. It has long-term effects. My title for the book was 39 years. All right? The lasting effects of bullying. Yeah. By shedding light on it, and sharing firsthand just how devastating an impact it can have on your life, it is, it's a step forward. I have been tested, on IQ tests, and I have never had a score under 170. So that gives you a bit of an idea of, yet I struggle. I can come up with brilliant ideas, but it's the It's the getting through it. And I know that the holdback was, the self-worth problem created by what happened when I was young. Because every time, that I had, a really good answer in school, in class, that's when the bullying, that's when they'd hunt me down. When we would have chocolate bar campaigns, and selling chocolate bars. I'd win, the top prize. They'd hunt my ass down, literally beat the chocolate right out of me. Yep, I know you're here, Hardy. I thank you for being here. So, I mean, my life was not easy as a kid in every way. My father worked hard to keep the roof over our head and food in our bellies. My mother was quite adept at stretching the food budget. I mean, we were a family of 7, mom and dad and 5 kids. I got 4 sisters, all younger than me. And if it wasn't for winning a scholarship, a full tuition scholarship, I would not have been able to go to college. Because there was just no money. And even in, when I was in college, I had to work. Fortunately, my dad had, taught me how to install yeah. But see, when I graduated high school, or when I graduated grade school, I was the second smallest in my class. Okay, there was only one guy smaller than me. The next, when I graduated high school, I had only grown 2 inches. I graduated high school and I was all of 5'4". But shortly after starting college, so for about 5-6 months after I started college, I started growing. And fuck did I grow. I went from 5'4" to 6'6" in 18 months. Okay. Oh, neat. Okay. Oh. Well, congratulations, Talia. You're the only girl with 4 extra brothers. Hey, you got 4 boys to look out for you. Yes, science was my favorite subject. Math was actually even more favorite. I went into electronics technology, but I did not graduate. I hit one course that I just couldn't get past. Yeah, 195, 196. So, in centimeters, I'm 196 centimeters tall. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I don't fit in. That's why, Graham, when I tell you, writing, even sitting in economy, is tight. When I put my back right up against the back of the seat that I'm sitting in, my knees are jammed into the seat in front of me. Even, going and looking for a motorcycle, I got to watch what the seat height is above the pegs or from the ground. I need something that's, got a 30, 31, 32 inch seat height. Otherwise, I'm screwed. I got to fold my legs up, and with my knees in the condition they are, I won't be able to shift. But the nice thing about the Goldwing Aspencades is they've got those crash bars on the side of the motor. I can put what they call forward controls on there. So with a foot plate on the side of that and the forward controls, I can have my leg way out in front like I'm sitting in a car and just use my toe way out there to shift gears. Yep. Cold steel, 6'1". Yeah, well, you still got a ways to go, my friend. But you know, where I come from, they just stack it higher behind the barn. You know, that's where, you know, when they clean up after the cow and what falls out of the back end, they shovel it up and they pile it out behind the barn. I spent many summers out there shoveling out my uncle's dairy barn and running the wheelbarrow up the ramps, dumping it. That's how come I got so tall. Well, see, I was 19 when that happened. Yeah. Just before I turned 19 is when I started doing that growth spurt. Whoa. You are quite a tall woman then, Talia. 5'11". Yeah. But you see, both my parents are 6 feet tall. My dad was 6'1". You know, of course, he shrunk, but my mother didn't. Yeah. You know, and I can stand in Holland, and if the dike breaks, you know, the water goes almost 6 feet deep, right? Most of Holland is between 1.4 and 1.6 meters below sea level. Well, you know, that's to about here or lower. No problem, man. I'll just walk through it. I'll still breathe. Hardy, you'd have a problem. You'd be underwater. Was I eating something different? Vegetable. You know, we had a garden when I was growing up. A huge garden. So, you know, fresh vegetables in the summertime came right out of, or the vegetables for dinner came right out of the garden. We had salads and just, you name it, you know, in the summertime. And we would put up, you know, probably 100 packs of beans, beets, pickles, corn, and the garden, let's see, the garden was 30 by 55 in the backyard of my mom and dad's place. It was big. Yeah, 5'8", you'll just about make it. Okay. You're homeless, bro. Oh. Uh-huh. Well, I'm not homeless. I have a place to live. I'm happy with, you know, where I am. I also own my own house. But I stay where I stay simply because there's so much to do in that house to keep it operating, and trying to do it all alone is just overwhelming. Yeah. 5'8", 100 pounds. Yeah, you fit quite well into a cockpit seat then. You know, I'm still almost 6'6", but I'm 280 pounds. I got an extra spare tire. Cold steel. Don't be nice now. Be nice. But you know, the funny thing is, my first wife was 5'4". My second wife was 5'9", and now I'm looking at, you know, the Filipina that's 5'2". Yeah, cold steel. I got rid of my mortgage real easy. I moved from a place where properties were, you know, around 300 grand for, you know, a modest house. moved out of there, rented it out, sold it off for $285,000, paid off my mortgage of $150, and I bought a house, 2-story, 3-bedroom house, almost the same size lot, for $18,000. And believe it or not, the pay is better up here. Job opportunities are better here. Yeah. So, just by changing my location, I was able to drastically reduce my cost of living. Folks, it has been a wonderful day. Yep. I hope so too. Yeah, I know. Well, I got 2/3 of an acre with the house in a town that is incorporated, but they operate like they are an unincorporated township. So I don't have to deal with, building officials and bylaw officers and all this freaking bullshit of government, thinking they have the right to put their nose in your business. Not sure. I don't know what the current currency exchange is for the ruble, Talia. Okay, you're driving to the house. Okay, well, I'm going to be ending my stream. Because I still wanted to do a little bit more yet this evening. Hardy's going to be coming on shortly. Yeah. Well, Canadian dollar is 73 cents American right now. Okay, Keko. Yeah, I know. It's nearing 3 a.m. there. Okay. So I'm going to wrap up. I thank all of you for coming. And I will say this: good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Whatever it may be for you, but have a great day. God loves you, and stay safe.